Our speaker for the beginning is Lena Muwakki and Lucille Patrichuk. Lena obtained a Bachelor's of Science in Behavioral Health from Pennsylvania State University and a Master's of Science in Health Sciences from George Washington University. For 13 years, she has worked on the Clinical Trials Support Unit project. She serves as a Senior Study Director with Westat. Lucille Patrichuk is the Assistant Project Director for CTSU. She graduated with a Bachelor's in Nursing from Lehman College and an MBA in Healthcare Management from Adelphi University. She works extensively with the NCI and network groups to provide support in all aspects of clinical trials. Please welcome Ms. Lena Muwakki and Ms. Lucille Patrichuk.
All right, well, good morning, everyone. Again, my name is Lena Muwakki, and Lucille Patrichuk, my colleague, is here as well. And today we're going to give you some information about some exciting new CTSU updates, some new features, and some upcoming features. Specifically, we're going to go over the following items. We're going to go over the Roster Update Management System, the RUM system. We're going to go over some regulatory updates. We're going to go over the CTSU Report and Information Subscription Portal and how to use that. We'll also go over some open and transfer and update module updates. And also the serious adverse integration, so we'll go over that. And lastly, we'll go over some upcoming features, such as the national coverage analysis, the new data quality portal that's in the works, the Google search feature, also the site registration portal that's coming soon, the new webinars, and lastly, an addition to our protocol tree on the CTSU website. Okay, the first big question, is there an easier way to manage roster data? Well, the short answer is yes. We now have the Roster Update Management System, RUMS. Some of you may have used it, some of you may have not, but right now it is an application hosted on the CTSU website that allows the management of institution and person roster data through a direct link with the regulatory support system. Some features of RUMS. It supports common and roster-specific attributes. It can support document collection. For the user, it contains training information, including a user guide and videos. It's also highly configurable for each roster owner, so the roles and attributes will look slightly different for each owner. It's also, in the future, you might see a link to it now, but it's not completely implemented. We will have deep linking capabilities into EndCourseSys. So EndCourse sites will be able to go into EndCourseSys to add additional persons and then go into RUMS to add roles. Some of the business rules. Persons with an active CTEP-IM can access and view roster data for their associated sites, so have to have an active CTEP-IM account. Persons with primary roles at the site for the roster may request changes, and the person with a primary role is also thought of as the main contact for that roster, such as a head CRA for SWOG or a site administrator for CTSU. All person records being requested for update must have an active or approved CTEP ID. And with the exception of the RAVE related and registrar roles in open, roles are roster owner specific. So for the common systems, you'll have common roles. For access that is group specific, each one of those roles are specific to that roster owner. Some more business rules. Roster owners may configure which roles are available in RUMS and which actions site users can take on the roster. EndCourse sites will continue to use EndCourseSys to add persons and sites and use RUMS to add roles, which I mentioned earlier. Lead academic participating sites, LAPs, and lead academic organizations for the ETCTN, the LAOs, must still contact CTEP to add or withdraw sites. So they remain to be a little bit different because of the grants. Okay, on this slide, I'm not going to go over it in great detail. You'll have a copy of the slides, but so the take-home message here is, as you can see by member type, it will show you what action you can take, if it is allowed, and if it requires roster owner review. So basically, adding a role to a person, unless it's a primary role, is allowed by all roster owners and does not require roster owner review. It's just the primary roles that would require roster owner review here. Okay, now I'm going to take the time to give you a little RUMS tutorial, show you how to use it, get a little bit more familiar with it. So once you log into the CTSU members website, you'll go to the RUMS tab in the upper right-hand corner. Click on that, and once you click on it, you'll get to this screen. You'll see 3 different tabs: the person roster browser tab, the organization roster browser tab, and the tracking tab. And you can navigate through these tabs. It does default to the person roster browser tab, which most activity does take place. You also see in the middle training materials. By clicking there, you can access videos, and they use videos right there. There are 4 or 5 minute videos that describe some of the actions you can take in RUMS. And also on the right-hand side, you see those little individual persons icons where you can add and delete requests for roles, for example. And now I'll walk you through adding a role to a person. So if you want to add a role, for in this case, if we want to add a role to Ms. Schreiner, we would first click on the person icon with the green, plus sign. Once you click that, a screen at the bottom will appear with information that you would start to fill out. There are 3 boxes there. You would fill out the site. You would select the role and the role at the level, institution versus protocol. And once you do that, you can add to cart. One thing to note that while not all roles are available at the protocol, not all roles are available at the protocol level, but all RAVE roles are available at the protocol level. So again, in this case, we're going to add RAVE CRA for her. In-person roles vary by roster owners, and you can see the roles and access table determine the available roles, and you can see this on the tools bar on the main page. So you click Next, Submit, and then at that point you'll get a confirmation page saying that all requests have been submitted successfully, so you know that it went through and everything. Now everything has been added as you would like. And non-primary roles, as we mentioned earlier, non-primary roles do not require roster owner review and will automatically populate in both RUMS and RSS. It's just the primary roles that would require roster owner review. So this would not be a problem. Okay, so you can confirm your changes right here. You can see now that Donna Schreiner has been added as a RAVE CRA for A031203. Right there. Now, to add a person, you click the Add Person button, and then you would walk through finding the person you would like to add. And to add a person, they must have an active CTEP status. So here we're going to query for Akidra Terry. So we're going to put K, first name, Terry, last name, and click Search. And once we do that, we'll get anyone with a K Terry. In this case, we have 2. If, for example, there was more than one Akidra Terry, you could click that blue icon with the I in the middle to check to see more information about that individual to make sure you're selecting the right person. And if you look above her, Katie Terry, you can see her CTEP ID begins with a number 9, and her CTEP status is not available there. So that's your sign that that person is not a registered person and cannot be added. So here's Akidra Terry. We're going to add her. Sorry. So you would click Next, and then you get this page. Now you go through, you're going to select sites, roles, answer some questions, upload any documents if necessary, and then review and confirm. So here we're at the site screen. We're going to select site MD029. We'll hit next. And staff can be added to multiple sites on multiple rosters. So after you click next, we're going to select her role. We're going to select clinical research associate in this case. We'll hit next. Now we're going to answer some questions that we're going to go through each one of these questions. And some of these questions are roster specific, some are not, so it depends. So you'll go through each one of these questions, and then you would go to the next screen and upload any documents. For example, a training certificate that has to be uploaded. So in this case, we upload this document, you update it, you hit next. And at that point, you're going to confirm everything you added. Make sure everything looks right, review it, and if everything looks good, at that point, you would click Submit, and you'll get a confirmation page again that all requests have been submitted successfully. So now you're set. However, like we said, since we're adding a person, this requires roster owner review. As you can see for Kedra, it's on hold. So here on this page, on the tracking tab, you can review status of requests for persons and organizations. You have the two tabs, the person roster request tab, the organization roster request tab. And if you want to edit requests, you can, for example, click on the X to remove it. And if the roster owner has a question or concern, you can see a yellow circle at the bottom with a question mark, and you can hover over it, and it'll tell you what that concern is. In this case, they're saying someone already has that role. Okay, so that's RUMS. Now we're going to go over information about how can I better manage regulatory submissions. This is for both CRB sites and local IRB sites. And we also have a lot of this information on the regulatory tab on the website, so if you want more information. And we also had information on our recent CTSU newsletter, so you can always reference that for more information. Okay, for sites using the CRB, the one thing here you really want to ensure is that you want to ensure your site preferences are set. So if you go into the website under the regulatory tab, you would click CRB site preferences. And there is where you can see all your site preferences. So you want to look at that and review that every so often to make sure that it is correct, that you have, for example, the sites, the signatory only is a site-specific protocol. You look all that, review that. If there are any changes that you need to make, you would need to contact the CTSU regulatory office at that phone number and email to make any updates. Okay, some additional tips for CRB sites. Contact the CRB as soon as possible when institutions need to be added or withdrawn from the signatory. Contact the CTSU regulatory office to set preference for newly added sites or to add a site to an existing approval under the signatory site. And for additional information, you can review the slide set on the CTSU website under the Education and Resources tab called CRB CTSU Integration. For sites using a local IRB, you need to submit to the CTSU regulatory office one or a combination of the following three documents: the CTSU IRB certification, the IRB approval letter, or what used to be called the 310 form, the Protection of Human Subject Assurance Identification, IRB certification declaration of exemption form. And for sites, for IRBs, if you have an IRB that does not use the certification form, you can send the approval letter with the top half of the IRB certification form, and that will help speed up the process. Okay, for sites using a local IRB, again, the documents submitted should include protocol number and title, a short title is okay, protocol version date or version number, institution name and CTEP ID, assurance number, PI name and CTEP ID, the review type, and the date of approval and expiration date. You want to ensure the approval is signed by the IRB signatory, And if the local IRB signs electronically, submit a copy of the IRB policy, one time only, and approvals must be in English. For contingent approvals, you want to submit the subsequent letters showing final approval to make sure all those contingencies have been met. Okay, another big question we get is, can I get protocol updates emailed to me, or how do I know there are new protocol updates? Well, we do have a new system called CRISP, which, again, you may be familiar with, maybe not, but it's called the CTSU Report and Information Subscription Portal. It allows CTSU website users to subscribe and manage email notifications. And the current subscriptions that we have are summary of multi-step enrollments, summary of changes to person roster, new protocols in my area of interest, expiring IRB approvals, and changes to site registration statuses. And we also have some in development, which are hoped to be released in this fall, which include newly posted protocol-related documents, accrual notifications for my site, summary of incomplete patient enrollments, unused slot reservations, and new data on a user dashboard portlet. And if you do have other ideas for subscriptions, please let us know. We're always looking for more to make things easier for you. To access CRISP, you go into the member's website. Next to My Account, you'll see a button that says CRISP, and you would click on that button. Once you click there, you're going to pop up a screen, and you're going to see the different types of subscriptions. You see My Subscriptions, inactive ones that you deleted, and view your message history. So under My Subscriptions, for example, if you want to modify or delete, you can do so on the right-hand side in the actions. If you want to add a new one, you press this button, and you'll get another screen where it'll show you the different subscriptions. At that point, you would pick the one that you would like. For example, here under Protocol Updates, we'll pick new protocols in your area of interest. So you click that, you hit Next, and then you will answer a series of questions. And depending on the subscription, there'll be different questions. But in this case, we're going to select the frequency, daily. We're going to select areas of interest and collect the disease interests that we'd like, and then add to cart. And then you're going to review your subscription. Is that the one what you wanted? Is that the frequency you want to make sure everything's correct? And then again, you hit submit, and then you get a confirmation that you have subscribed successfully. So that means you have the subscription now. It should start appearing in the next couple of days, and that's how you do one. So that's CRISP. Now I'm going to go over some updates in Open. So what's new in Open? We have the transfer and update module updates. The transfer and update module is being used now for SWOG, Alliance, and ECOG Akron trials. NRG usage is expected in mid-October. Some new updates. We have an archive folder that has been added to the TUMS History tab to view patients that have been transferred from a site. We also have a new Google Maps feature that has been integrated into the transfer and update module help tool. The Google Map will display on the left side of the screen and a list of possible receiving institutions complete with their addresses will display on the right side of the screen. And here is an example of the Google Maps. So you can see in the middle is the maps, a more visual look at where the sites are. On the right-hand side, some more information about the sites. And also on the bottom, you get more detailed information as well. So this is how it now looks. Some additional Open updates. A transfer and update module type column was added to the Browse subtab under the History tab. So Open users can identify which patient enrollments involved improved TUM requests. This type request is indicated in the type column you can see on the screen in red that's circled. We also now have a custom edit check that was added to the demography screen, which validates whether the zip code value matches a list of valid U.S. zip codes. So you no longer can enter an invalid zip code. It will check to make sure it does exist. Update to the funding screen. We now have a comments column that was added to the funding screen so that notes can be added regarding each per case funding entry. Now, the comments field is for internal use only, and the reason we added this field is that we got a lot of feedback from sites that, for example, a patient refused a test or for some reason could not complete it, and they had no way of saying that, and there'd just be an empty date there, and there's no way you can communicate it internally at the site. So now you can add that in the notes section, the reason why there is no date. But again, these comments are not sent to the LPOs. So you don't want to add contradictory information. For example, add a date and then say just a random date and say that patient couldn't complete it. Because if there is a date, it will be sent to the LPO, and that will signal to release funds. Okay, so what do updates to the SAE reporting process mean to my sites? So we have some new information for the SAE integration phases. We have 2 phases. The project is being rolled out again in 2 phases, the rule evaluation phase and the full phase. The RE phase, it provides the ability to enter adverse events in RAVE and return a real-time recommendation of whether to complete an expedited report based on protocol-specific rules, for example, as for a serious adverse event. The full integration provides the additional capability to generate expedited reports directly in RAVE. So with a full version, you'll be able to do all this directly in RAVE. The steps for using the RE phase is a set of NCI and protocol-specific business rules are set up to evaluate the AEs. Routine AEs, treatment or follow-up, are entered into RAVE. At that point, AEs are evaluated via an automated process. And a recommendation will be returned to RAVE indicating, for example, whether or not an expedited report is expected. And if it is expected and recommended, you can perform this in CTEP errors. The current status of the integration, we have pilot studies for the RE integration have started with Alliance, Theradex, and ECOG Akron. SWOG is also coming later this month. The CTSU plans to begin piloting the full SAE integration in late 2015, so this year. If you participate in a protocol piloting the SAE integration, additional information is available on the protocol-specific webpage in the LPO Documents tab under Education and Promotion, as you can see right there on the bottom of the screen. Okay, so what new tools are being implemented to help site efficiency? We have some new tools to discuss that are coming and that have already started. We have the national coverage analysis. CTSU is working with the network groups and research bases to provide national coverage analysis to support NCI-supported trials. A working group is already in place to define the roles and responsibilities for developing CA documents, establishing a process for creating the CA for NCTN and NCORE protocols, and pilot CA documents for specified protocols on the CTSU website. And we have a coverage analysis that's being worked on for the MATCH trial, which will be available on the CTSU website sometime this month. Another new feature coming up is the data quality portal. With this portal, it will provide a single platform to access query and delinquency information for all CTEP RAVE protocols via the CTSU website. DQP access will be integrated with RSS to control data that is displayed. Form delinquency and query information will be retrieved from all 9 CTEP RAVE URLs. And a thing to note is that delinquent form information will only be available for those RAVE studies that use the RAVE calendaring functionality. So if it does not use the RAVE calendaring functionality, that particular module, the form delinquency, will not be available, but the data, the query information will be. So as I mentioned, the DQP will contain 2 modules, a queries module for discrepancies and a delinquencies modules for forms. Using both these modules together, users will be able to track and manage data quality and timeliness for RAVE studies. You'll be able to review summary reports, deep link directly to RAVE forms, enter data for missing forms, manage open queries and discrepancies. And this new portal will be available in early 2016. We also have a new Google search feature. As you know, we have a lot of information on the website, and we felt we needed a solution to make these documents more searchable. So we have implemented Google. We all know Google. We all see it everywhere. It's a great search engine. So we are bringing Google to our website with the help of a GSA, the Google Search Appliance, which will read information through our data, our enterprise database, everything on our website, and to make it more searchable. Again, as I said, we have a lot of information from the various LPOs, such as protocol updates, DSNs, protocol documents. All that information is fed to the web team, where they post it onto our website. We have CRB documents that also feed into our website. We have RSS, Open, RAVE. All that information, again, go into our website. So a lot of information. If you're not familiar with all the ins and outs of the website, it's hard to sometimes find this information. So here you can see how much we have on our website. So LPO documents, you see we have over 20,000 of those on our website, and it shows you the monthly downloads activity we have for each of those. So again, now with this new feature, you'll be able to enter a keyword on the website, and it'll display everything with that keyword, and hopefully you can find your document or whatever you like quicker. We also are working on a new site registration portal. This portal will streamline and modernize the submission of regulatory information to the CTSU. So currently, you submit your site registration information to the regulatory office, either emailing it or faxing it. So now you'll even have the option to upload it to the website. The portal will be a sub-tab located under the regulatory tab on the CTSU website, and it will provide the ability to upload and submit site registration documentation by corresponding site and study number directly to the regulatory office and RSS. We will still have a fax option that will exist, but it will have enhancements to include a dynamic cover sheet using a barcode indicating the sites and protocols contained in the fax. The status of site registration documents will be viewable and trackable directly on the website, so things will be more transparent. You'll be able to see what's going on. Person and institution documentation will also be submitted via the portal, and there will be an option to respond to queries from the regulatory office directly from the website. If something is missing in your packet, for example, they can indicate that, and you can respond and upload it on the website. And that's hoped to come out, again, in 2016. So that's still relatively early in its phase. We also have webinars that we recently started. This started in April 2015 with our first one, titled Access to NCT and AYA Trials. So I'm not sure if some of you attended it, but it was very successful. We had a great turnout. And the goals of these webinars is to address key concerns that affect accrual to NCI-supported trials and raise awareness of trials among NCTN sites. We do have some upcoming webinars. We're hoping to schedule a matched webinar this fall. We're having a Lung Map Alchemist webinar October 27th. And we're hoping to schedule the Sister Breast Studies webinar in December. And you will be able to be notified of these webinars either by visiting the website. We'll have an announcement once they are scheduled in the CTSU news box or announcement section. We'll also advertise it in the bi-monthly broadcast, and we'll also announce any upcoming ones in our quarterly CTSU newsletter. We also do have an archive of these webinars that are maintained on our website. So if, for example, you want to listen to it again or you could not attend it, you can access it in the ENR tab of our website under Educational Presentations and Webinars, and either download the slides or listen to it. And as I said, these webinars, the first one resulted in a lot of good feedback, and one of the feedback that we got was that the AYA studies were hard to be located. They couldn't always identify which ones were AYA studies. So we have implemented just recently a new folder on our website titled AYA Studies. So you can see all the AYA studies listed there easily. And also we have an accrual report on the bottom there you see for AYA studies. So if you wanted to download a report of all the available AYA studies, you can do that now. And this, again, is available now, so you can see it on our website.